Well, good morning, everyone. Don Cramer with the Cramer Group at Urban Nest Realty. Cheers to everyone out there today. We are back with a Coffee with Cramer live, and we've got two special people joining us over the interwebs today. We've got our partner, Colleen Schaefer, and special guest, Joe Lindner of Joe's Phenomenal. So we're excited to have Joe. Joe's been on the show before, but we want to kind of catch up with him in 2021 because you know what? It's about staying healthy and staying on track. And I tell you what, Joe knows a lot about that. I've known Joe for over 10 years now. We met in cycling, and now we've caught back up over the last year and a half through our mutual business networking group. And excited to have Joe on. And when I spoke to Colleen about Joe, she's like, "Okay, I want to be on the show. I've got some questions." So, well, Joe, thanks for joining today.
Well, thank you. Thanks for the opportunity.
Absolutely. And so, just also a little background about Joe. So, Joe, we got a little story to tell about Joe, why he got into what his loves and passions, and why he got started with Joe's Phenomenal, and also too how that's also branched off into a couple of different things, and maybe a little bit of what's coming up here in the near future. So, Joe, why don't you give us a little 411 about Joe's Phenomenal?
Well, Joe's Phenomenal is my salad dressing company. Basically, it comes down to it all originated with the cycling. Me and my coach were kind of hanging around at Olive Garden having salad and salmon one day, and we always get that low calorie dressing that they have there. And when we got to our fourth or fifth bowl of salad, I started talking about, we're having a lot of this dressing. So I was kind of looking it up, and even though it was low calorie, we probably sucked down 300 or 400 calories worth of salad dressing, and you don't even realize it. And that's like a low calorie version of it. So I just told them, hey, you know what? I think I'm gonna make us some dressing that isn't so bad, so we could use that instead. And that's really how Joe's Phenomenal was born. It was just trying to mess around and just do something to lower the calorie intake, and kind of wanted to see if I can make it taste good and be a little bit better for you. And it turned out, I was like, well, do we need all that fat in there? Do we need the oils? Do we need this? It turned out not really. And even tried out some of the 0 calorie stuff in the grocery store, and kind of went in there and just bought one of everything to taste everything to see how everybody's stuff was. And really, it was all garbage. Once you get down into that super low calorie range, it just does not taste very good. And I pretty much threw a lot of that right in the trash. And you're talking 7, 8, 9, $10 a bottle for a lot of this stuff. And so when I did mine, I just started kind of testing it, bringing it out to him, having people try it, see what they thought. Didn't really tell him what it was. And our approval rating basically has been pretty close to 100%. The only people that aren't into it are people that just can't stand vinegar, and
Okay.
that's one of the main ingredients. So I mean, it's just going to happen. There's really nothing you can do about that. And most of my dressings are vinaigrettes. So I mean, what are you going to do?
Exactly. So
And,
the vinegar is acting a little bit of as a preservative.
yeah, the only preservatives we use in our dressings are apple cider vinegar and lemon juice.
Yeah.
So there's no chemical preservatives. There's no fake ingredients. If you don't know, if you look at the ingredients label on our dressing, you know what everything is in there. Even a thickening agent, I could have used lecithin or something like that to thicken the dressing up, but I ended up using psyllium husk instead because it's a natural product, and it was really a pain in the neck to use it because it tends to bind things up. Anybody who's ever had like Metamucil or something at night, if you use too much of it, then it turns into a brick. And if you don't
Okay.
use enough of it, then you're not getting your dosage. Well, that took a little while to get that right. But at the end of the day, man, we got a product that's really good. The only thing is that you got to keep it refrigerated, even if you haven't opened it yet, just because I'm not exactly sure about the shelf life. I've tested that out a little bit, but it's just if it's in the fridge, it seems like it's fine for a really long time, and if it's not, then I don't know. But probably just better to have it in there anyway, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, Joe, you started as sort of like, okay, hey, just sort of you identified a problem, which is the classic. It's like, okay, there's a problem here going on with calories and input and in cycling. Energy efficiency, calorie usage, and all that's really critical. But I mean, it's also become critical beyond cycling. I mean, it's part of day of life, every day of your life. And two, like you said, the you don't have 10-syllable words in your salad dressing.
Right. You got basically, you got to keep it simple.
Absolutely.
KISS, right? It's just as soon as you look at the back, I mean, that's pretty much everything you get in there. Especially now with, we're living in the middle of a pandemic and everything else. You kind of would think, and right at the beginning, when everybody started going outside playing in the park, that first couple of weeks, that was kind of like New Year's, oh, you make your New Year's resolution and you go into the gym and you're there for 3 weeks and 5 years of membership and you never show up again, that kind of deal.
Right.
Well, if you look now, the lines at the fast food joints are longer than they've ever been.
Yeah.
And I don't get it. I mean, it's just one of those things where, especially nowadays, where this pandemic affects people in a much higher percentage when you're not in great health, you would think that that would spur people to maybe try to take care of their bodies just a little bit better. And for the most part, it really hasn't. And you see people, they complain, oh, I gained extra weight during the pandemic and this. That shouldn't be a problem if you're eating what you should be eating. You don't really need to go into the gym. That's for fitness. That's not necessarily for dropping weight or anything. That's all in the kitchen, like
Right.
right back here behind me.
Absolutely. So, Colleen, I
Don't
know
you
you.
think though that some of it just gets to be boredom?
Yeah, but I mean, there's got to be a little bit of self-control there too. I mean,
Yeah.
people are stress eaters, people, emotional eaters. You're bored, you eat. You're having fun, you eat. And I mean, I get it because I was one of those people. I was 260 pounds back when I met Don. I was probably down to about 220, 230, something like that. But I, I was pretty big, and I had diabetes issues. I had all kinds of things going on, and it was mostly the change of diet. I mean, I was on the bike a lot, so that helped. But once you get to a certain point, exercise doesn't it's not going to help you drop weight. When you get to a certain point, you've got to change what you're putting in your body.
Well, and speaking personally, I can attach to what you're saying because the cleaner or better you eat, the better you feel. It's just
Yeah,
breaking the
yeah.
habit of this makes me feel good, even though it makes me feel crappy, even though it makes me feel bad.
It's usually the
So,
sugars and
yeah,
the fats and stuff that are in there.
yeah,
That's that stuff. It's natural, gives you kind of a natural high, a little bit of sugar,
Yep.
which is why people like to eat chocolate and stuff like that. It does make you feel good, but it's because and then you become sort of dependent on that. So then without that's why it's so hard for a lot of people to start dieting, so especially if you have a high sugar, high carbohydrate diet, because you don't feel good whenever you first start because your body wants that. But it's amazing how as you change what you put in uh, your body will start to crave that more. Like if you're getting a lot more iron, then all of a sudden your body's like, hey, I kind of want more of this. And then you're mentally you'll start wanting those foods a little bit more too. So it's kind of a
no, it's true.
self-fulfilling type of thing at some point.
hmm Depression, anything like that can actually be helped with a cleaner, better diet.
Yeah, that and
That's
your self-image tends to kind of go down a little bit too, which causes more depression, which makes you eat that way more, which it's just this never-ending cycle a lot of times for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Was for me.
When we should be, if we're gonna have a bit of a pity party, instead of going to the bonbons, we should be going to to some
yeah.
to some good eats, because that's gonna get us
And
out a lot faster.
Right. Yeah, definitely.
so dressing is a big deal for me because I enjoy salads, but I don't enjoy them dry ever.
Nobody does. No, they're not.
I've heard people do
Lettuce
it.
is not
I
designed
don't.
to be eaten raw.
Pardon.
I'm a big salad person myself, but I you got to have something on there.
Yeah.
Especially
So
then when you start getting into fattier dressings, if you ever look at the like mustard dressings, for example, if you get a honey mustard dressing, which is probably the worst thing you could put in your body, other than maybe ranch. I think mustard's probably worse, like a honey mustard, because it's almost all mayonnaise. But they measure that as a serving size being 2 teaspoons, which is that's one bite for me. And then other dressings, it's 2 tablespoons. Well, I've never met anybody who puts 2 tablespoons of salad dressing on a salad. It's probably closer to 6 or 7.
Yes.
So now you look at the ranch dressing, typically a couple hundred calories per 2 tablespoons, maybe like 275 or something like that, depending. Now you're going to multiply that by 4. And that's just your dressing. Now you got your salad in there, which is mostly pretty healthy stuff. And then they put nuts in there, and then they put some cranberries or something on it, and then you're putting some cheese on there. And then that adds up. And I've seen, especially if you go to some place like Cheesecake Factory, since they are really good about writing in all of the calorie values, take a look at the salads. They're 1,600, 1,700, 1,800 calories in a salad. A lot of times they're higher than just going and getting your steak and potato, which is what people are trying to avoid because they think they're doing better, and really you're not.
So how many calories are in your quarter cup?
Well, I measure them in the standard 2 teaspoons denomination. I'll show you the spicy lemon vinaigrette here, which is our most popular flavor that we have. 2 tablespoons is 5 calories.
Wow.
That's it. No, There's almost no sugar, almost no fat. It's and basically all the dressings are like that. I have a mustard dressing that we make that's basically sweetened with monk fruit and maple syrup, which is kind of my version of a honey mustard. And that gets up to about 15 calories for 2 tablespoons because you can't really avoid it because there is maple syrup in there. But it's nothing like some of these other ones. And that's really the highest calorie dressing we make is the 15 calories for 2 tablespoons because that's.
Do you make any kind of a creamy balsamic kind of thing? Sorry.
Creamy is hard to do because creamy needs cream. And then if I got cream in there, then I have to have a chemical preservative because the lemon juice and the vinegar won't cut it because with cream, it's kind of difficult. It sort of makes it taste kind of funny. Vinegar will make a cream taste a little bit rancid, which is why these low-calorie dressings, a lot of them taste off because they're trying to preserve something that's got a cream base to it. And for me, it's something where I'd rather not make the dressing than make it in such a way to where it's going to be unhealthy for you. Which means there's always.
Just one last quick question as far as in my house, my husband and I have looked into Weight Watchers, and these dressings sound like something that wouldn't be high in points.
No, they'd be very low. Because what's the point system on Weight Watchers based on? Is that it's based on a combination of things, right? There's the calorie content, fat content, sugar, and it comes in some sort of equation. So these would probably be, what's the lowest on the scale? A 1 or something like that, or a 0?
You can have a 0 point. You can have 0
it's
points
probably
if there's
gonna be,
fats.
It's going to be pretty close to 0. It has to be.
Yeah, I think that's a really good thing for people to know about this because there are a lot of people. I mean, there's people in my husband's office, there's people in my family that do follow Weight Watchers, and you're always trying to find something with flavor because a salad is 0 points. It's vegetables. As long as you don't put raisins or nuts, you've got 0 no matter what you put in it. It can be pears, it can be arugula, it can be, name it. If it's a vegetable or a fruit, it's 0 points. So the dressings that go on there, there's a couple of them that we use that are Boathouse, I think is one of them, and it basically is 35. So it's 2 points for 2 tablespoons. So you're using 6 points when you're done. But it's creamy. It's done with yogurt and some other things, and we'd have to look. But I think that I would love to, and you can go into the Weight Watchers app and put the actual ingredients in, and then it will register for Weight Watchers to tell you how many points. And I think you would be a phenomenal find for people doing Weight Watchers because of what you're telling me and what I've read about your dressings. It was like, this is something that could go really far for people that are following Weight Watchers, because you don't feel deprived with Weight Watchers. You just have to monitor the amounts of these things you're putting in, and it does it for you on an app on your phone.
Yeah, that's something to look into, definitely.
Oh yeah, no, let's spread the word on that, because I would almost guarantee you, um, many people that are on Weight Watchers would love to have the flavor that you would add without the points.
And another byproduct of our dressing is that it's keto friendly. It's
Nice.
there's it should be, yeah, I could say it's gluten free because we don't put anything with gluten in there, but like the psyllium husk comes from a packager that I can't guarantee. It's not, some of the ingredients aren't guaranteed gluten free, so I don't advertise it that way, because somebody has celiac disease or something and there's like some minute amount in there somewhere. I don't want to lead people astray by saying something like that. So I just say that it's gluten friendly because
Okay.
because
Okay.
there's most people aren't going to have a problem with something like that, but it's just one of those things. I can't get the certification unless I change some of my distributors up, which maybe in the future we'll work on that. But for
It's
now,
close though, so it's not heavy duty gluten.
right? If it's somebody who just doesn't want to eat gluten, that's fine. If it's somebody who has
Good.
celiac disease,
Right.
maybe gotta be careful. It's something where you'd want to test it a little bit and just have a tiny bit and see what happens. But unfortunately, I can't guarantee that just yet.
So, Joe, what tell us about the flavors you currently have on Joe's Phenomenal.
Okay, well, we got four. There's a lemon vinaigrette, which if you've had Italian dressing, which everybody has, it's
Mm-hmm.
pretty close to, I'd model it to be pretty close to an Italian. Not a creamy Italian, more like your basic, like your wishbone light Italian type dressing, something kind of close to that, without the sugar and all that stuff in there. Then I've got a spicy lemon vinaigrette, which is basically the same dressing, but I added a little bit of jalapeno in there, and also a little bit of cayenne pepper. Then we got the mustard dressing, which is monk fruit. It's a monk fruit mustard dressing with a little bit of uh, maple syrup in there. And then our fourth one is a tangy sun-dried tomato vinaigrette, which has got obviously sun-dried tomatoes. That's got a little bit higher sugar content, obviously, because there's sun-dried tomatoes in there. There's not really a whole lot I can do about that. But again, we're still talking 15 calories for 2 tablespoons. And as far as that one goes, sugar content, 2 grams of sugar for 2 tablespoons. That's, that's not a whole lot.
So it's more of the naturally occurring sugar out of the sun-dried tomatoes versus
Yeah,
supplementing.
I'm not adding any in there. If I need to sweeten them up a little bit, which I do, like the mustard uses monk fruit extract. The other dressings use stevia.
Okay.
It helps sweeten them up a little, which is all, See, really the only natural sweetener, the monk fruit in that. Stevia doesn't work in the mustard because I tried that over and over again, and it just was kind of gross. So, stevia's got that aftertaste, and you need the extra vinegar to kill that. Other than that, though, I mean, I've been really happy with the results so far. Working on a fifth dressing, but I'm not exactly sure what we're doing on that. It's on just from my own cooking, I can do like Caesar dressings and stuff like that using Greek yogurt and whatever, and they come out really great. But to bottle something like that is a little bit different story.
Right. Yeah, it's one thing to create the dressing. It's another one to create and package something from a distribution and storage standpoint. And that's been the challenge on a lot of these, it sounds like.
Yeah, so our next venture here is we've got our YouTube channel that's actually live now with no videos on it, so don't go there just yet.
Okay.
But yeah, we're I've got a couple of introductory videos. Our former Coffee with Cramer video that we did before.
Yep.
I've got that. That'll go live onto the YouTube channel as well. So we're going to try to bump up the subscriber base.
Nice.
And basically, the channel isn't even necessarily so much for selling Joe's Phenomenal dressing. It is more for trying to teach people, fun ways of cooking, learning how to cook with, doing some recipes and stuff like that. Basically what I've always done on our Instagram page, except live and open, and just we're trying to make it in a way that's going to be nice and funny, actually. So it's a little more entertaining. Because I haven't really seen a whole lot online like that. So it's usually been pretty dry on that type of stuff, unless you're talking about like a Gordon Ramsay video or something like that, where it's a whole bunch of anger. But other than that, actually, I've met Gordon Ramsay before, and he's not like that.
Well, that's right. One of the things that you did was a few years ago was audition for MasterChef. Am I correct on that?
Yeah, 5 times actually.
Okay.
Wow.
The fifth time was the last time they did an audition here in town, and that I got into was it the fifth or sixth round, and then they started asking me like, it went from I always get through the food rounds really well. Like, here's the recipe, and I'm like, oh my god, it was really good. And they're very minimal critiques,
Mm.
and then you start getting into this other stuff, and they start asking you things about the character that you want to be on the show, and they want you to be like overly energetic, and then I was kind of having a little bit of a problem with that, unfortunately, because it's I'm me, and it's really hard for me to just push something that's a little bit artificial
Yep.
like that, which is even with the dressing, I try to keep it pretty natural. So
I love that.
that's where I kind of fall. That's where I kind of fall off a little bit, because the dramatization part, I don't do it quite as well. Which just like when I'm watching MasterChef on TV, I'm usually fast forwarding through the drama. And I just want to see how they made the food, how it came out, what they used, what the technique was, and I'm thinking, oh, wow, that's great. But I can do without all of the the crying and all the other stuff. It doesn't do anything for me, really.
The soap opera part of it.
Yeah, I know it's entertainment, but I mean, it's so I get it, but it's just for me, I'm there more for the information and less for the other stuff. It's perfectly interesting for me to watch it for that content all by itself.
Mm.
You're more organic.
I try to be. I try to be.
Yeah. So that's cool. That's what your cooking is, right?
Organic sometimes.
Just mean clean, not anything that's too
clean organic ingredients. If they're available and they are cost effective to get, then yeah. So like Costco sells a lot of stuff that's organic, which is really nice. So does Whole Foods, but Whole Foods, I can go get a piece of broccoli for $12, or I can get a bag of it from Costco for $3. So
right.
so what do you do?
It's like, as we like to call it, whole paycheck.
Yes, yeah.
So Joe, I know we've talked about this as salad dressings, but I know your dressings have more application than just with salad.
Yeah, they double as marinades and ingredients for other recipes. Like for example, the tangy sun-dried tomato dressing is an excellent tomato base. So I can actually use that. I've used that as a base, and actually these are going to show up on the YouTube channel as actual recipes and walkthroughs. But I've used that as a base for chili. I do a slow cooker chili,
Mm-hmm.
and it's all the red sauce is that. A little bit of tomato paste in there to thicken it up. I use it as a base for beef bolognese sauce. So, which, if people don't know what that is, it's basically a spaghetti sauce with like meat in there. So I'll use like some lean ground turkey to throw in there instead of the hamburger meat.
Mm-hmm.
And, a bunch of vegetables and stuff, and then it comes out really, really good. And it gives you a different flavor. It's a little bit sweeter because of those sun-dried tomatoes in there, and because of the stevia that's already in there. And it makes it easy because it's got most of the herbs and everything in there already that you probably would have used to get some flavor into this sauce. And really, you only have to worry about maybe a little bit of garlic and stuff thrown in there, and your vegetables that you're tossing in, and then it's just simmering for a few hours, and you're good to go.
Yeah, and Joe too. So sometimes at home, and we're going to talk about getting how to order, but sometimes at home during lunch, sometimes I might have some cold cuts or some leftover chicken and want to make a wrap or something, that I would expect that we could use some of your like your lemon vinaigrette on some chicken, some lettuce, and make a great sandwich or a wrap without having to go to a mayonnaise.
Oh yeah, definitely. The mustard works really well. Anything you'd use mustard and ketchup for, you could
Yep.
use. The dressings, they're not quite as thick. The mustard is the thickest one out of the bottle, um, of all of them. So that's the easiest to deal with. But really, if you take a little bit of any of the dressings, you put it in a mixing bowl and toss it together with some vegetable and like some diced chicken or something like that, you can put that in a wrap and it's gonna be great. The mustard goes really well with, to me, with seafood more. So like shrimp and that mustard are a fantastic combination.
That
The lemon
spiciness.
vinaigrette, I
That's
like that a lot with poultry.
mm-hmm.
It's really good, especially chicken. More chicken than turkey, I think. The tomato, that's really good for red meats. It all depends on how strong the flavor of the dressing is versus how strong the flavor of the meat that you're pairing it with. If you got something mild, you want a mild flavor to go with it because you don't want to overpower it, and otherwise you're not gonna taste the original protein in there anymore if you've got some vastly overpowered dressing that you're throwing on there or you put too much on. But really, you don't need a whole lot on there to get some good flavor. I did that on purpose to try to keep the consumption of it down. So that's worked out pretty well as well.
Cool. Cool.
Joe, when you said about marinate, question for you is we will use, my husband and I will use the low cal, light, whatever you want to call it, craft Italian and put chicken breasts in there and leave it overnight and then put it on the grill. And
Okay.
I'm thinking that yours might be really good to do that with. I don't know, but because then we just have cold chicken that we can put on a salad or make into a sandwich or just eat a piece of chicken instead of crackers or whatever.
Yeah, as a marinade, I'd
Yeah.
recommend mixing a little bit of olive oil into it as well. The oil
Okay.
is going to help it absorb into the meat. Whereas if you just have just the straight up dressing, a lot of times it sits on the surface. But if you have the time to marinate, that's the thing. A lot of people don't have time to marinate something properly. Like I've seen people do, oh, I just mixed it on, I just put it on there and we let it sit for a couple of minutes and then we grill it up. It's like, it doesn't quite work that way. You need at least 3 hours to marinate something. And if you can give it more time, the more time you give it, the better it is. So if you're marinating overnight, you're doing really good because you're going to get a lot of flavor out of it. It's going to
Mm-hmm.
absorb into the meat. So all you would usually take probably about 2/3 dressing, 1/3 extra virgin olive oil, and just kind of mix that up. And make sure it's coated really well on both sides of your meat. You cover it up, throw it in the fridge, and if you can wait till tomorrow, it's going to have a lot of flavor in there.
Because what we do, we just put it in a Ziploc bag, shake it around, and then put it in the refrigerator for the next day. Then we take it out of the fridge and let it sit for probably a good 45 minutes to get it kind of a little more room temperature, and
Mm-hmm.
then put it on the grill. And that lasts, there's a couple of days worth of protein that you can grab instead of grabbing something else. So I'd love to try your dressings with a little bit of oil with them, and I think they'd probably be quite tasty as chicken.
All right, if you can vacuum seal them, they actually it's even better.
Okay.
Like if you have a lot of people have food savers now, and
Mm-hmm.
a
Yep.
lot of times they come with that. Especially if you get the one from Costco, it comes with a bunch of extra stuff, and one of them is a little marinating box,
Yeah.
and you just put the stuff in there and you vacuum all the air out, and that really cuts down the amount of time. It's really a couple hours all you need with something like that. It's
Nice.
it's pretty cool actually. Before that I didn't know the science really behind vacuuming the oxygen out. So I was just thinking, yeah, okay, whatever. And then it works. So because I can't complain too much.
So Joe,
Nice.
let's
So is that would that work with any meat? I mean, we'd use the Italian for the chicken, and then if we had any kind of red meat or anything we wanted to marinate, we could use any of them. Just add the oil.
Yeah, I would take a little bit of oil, add it in there because remember there's no oils in any of these dressings at all. And fat is flavor. It really is. So,
Right.
without the fat there, it was very difficult to make these have flavor without the fat. But
I'm impressed. Mm-hmm.
So
But I
Joe,
would put a little bit of oil in there. You remember, a lot of the oil is going to get left behind anyway. When you take it out of the container, that stays for the most part in there. And then you're going to cook, especially if you're grilling, you're going to cook a lot of that right off. But you do need a little bit of oil on there, because if you're grilling it, you're not going to get a nice crispy grill out of it if you don't have any oil, because you need that in order to develop that crust out there.
Yeah.
so Joe, let's talk about. So Colleen wanted to order some, or anybody wanted to order. Where do they go to order Joe's Phenomenal?
You can go to joesphenomenal.com.
Okay,
On our website, we've got all the dressings there.
and you
We
ship.
are local here in Las Vegas, so probably most of the time you're going to get stuff the next day or so. If I happen to be in your area, we can even deliver it out to you too. If we're just rolling around, no sense in wasting postage money. If I happen to be someplace around you, I can just roll by your house and give it to you. So
Perfect.
that's a perk we have for now. And if we start getting really big, obviously that might not be as easily available to do. But for now, why not? Save a
And
few bucks.
you ship out across the country.
Yeah, we've done. Let's see. I've sent it to Utah, Arizona, California, obviously here, Florida. I almost had somebody over in Australia, but that didn't work out. Oh, Virginia also. Australia didn't work out because the shipping to send anything to Australia is so unbelievably high that it was like something like $30 to send it out there. And they just wanted one bottle. So I mean, you can spend $40 to get 16 ounces of salad dressing.
Sure,
Probably not.
but it's Joe's Phenomenal, so I mean it's phenomenally worth it.
Well, yeah, it's
Right.
one of a kind.
Why not, right?
And so it's available for order online. And let's talk about too. So you're developing a YouTube channel that has elements of Joe's Phenomenal, but it's also talking about your love for cooking and recipes and other things for healthy lifestyle. Can you give us a little sneak preview of what you're thinking here on that channel?
Well, what we're doing on that is with the channel, and I try to really, I kind of feel like any YouTube channel, just based upon my previous experience. You probably hear my cat meowing in the background there. The only experience I have is if you're going to put up a YouTube channel, it needs to be primarily something where you're offering something to somebody else. You're trying to help somebody with a problem.
Yep.
So we're not really pushing the dressing there. It'll be available for sale off the YouTube site, and I'll have a lot of recipes that involve the dressing. So if you want to duplicate the recipe, you're going to need the dressings for it, which is okay too. But the primary goal of the YouTube channel is to show people, simple ways to make foods, step-by-step directions, how to organize your kitchen, I have a lot of things that I do whenever I do recipes. For instance, portioning out everything you need for the recipe first, having it all laid out in little bowls, because you're cooking something on a burner. You don't have time to be going into your pantry and measuring something out. By then it's too late. You've overcooked something. And it gets really frustrating because oh, where did I put that spoon? Where did I put that pan? Where's the chives? Oh my gosh, I don't have any more. And then you're kind of screwed at that point. So just a way to lay out your kitchen, what pots and pans you need, how that should be arranged. I'm in the organization. So the easier you make it for yourself at the beginning, the better it's going to be for you to try to make something with it, because you already have everything sitting around you that you need.
Absolutely. I'm a big fan of, as the French call it, mise en place, getting your work done, ready to go. So when it comes time to execute, everything's prepared, and it's just about cooking and assembly.
That, and I just love to cook. I really, really like to cook.
Where
And
did
I
that
like
bug come
helping
from?
people out and showing them ways that they can. To me, that part is the most fun part.
Mm-hmm.
Especially with Joe's Phenomenal. It's not even so much about, oh, I'm going to sell this salad dressing. I'm going to become the next Elon. I'll be the Elon Musk of salad dressing. It's not about that. It's about getting people to be a little healthier and have a better quality of life. And I mean, how much Do you think maybe the pandemic might have been a little bit different if everyone was taking care of themselves?
Yep.
Maybe there's some attitudes around it might have been a tiny
Maybe.
bit a tiny bit more relaxed. But we have such a high percentage of people that are obese, or they're just not in good health in general. I could really understand why people are going to be well, let's let them go. Why
There you
people are
go.
going to
Let 'em
be
go.
a little apprehensive.
Yep.
I mean, if it was me 7 years ago, I would have been scared to death.
Right.
I wouldn't want to come out of
Well,
my house. I
the
don't
beauty
even.
of what you're doing or you're saying to me anyway is speaking from experience, family members, myself, the fear of trying to make something, then trying to make something that tastes good, then trying to make something that's good for you gets overwhelming. So
Yeah,
knowing that the dressings that we're starting with, like for me, the marinades are a big deal because if you can marinate fish or you can marinate chicken or you can marinate beef, it has intricate flavors in it when you cook it. So there isn't all this fear. You go, okay, I know what this is going to taste like and I like it and it's right here. Do you know
yeah.
what I mean?
That's
So
why
it gets
rubs are
people
so
started.
popular. Mhm.
Pardon?
Yeah, that's why rubs are so popular. You just go in, you go buy it. There's the flavor you're gonna get. I already like that flavor. Boom, boom, boom. I rub it on there, throw it on the grill, and finish. Then all you got to worry about is not overcooking your meat.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Yeah.
I
You've
mean, other than
taken
you already got the flavor built in. Right?
exactly. You've taken a lot of the equation and sort of simplified it.
Yeah, and I mean that makes cooking more. I think the fact that people have trouble cooking and they don't like the result that they're getting, that's what makes people more less inclined to cook,
Mm-hmm.
because they don't feel like they can make something that's good, and then they end up ordering out or having somebody else do it or going to a restaurant or whatever. It's usually that and the cleanup. Those are the two things that bother people. And the cleanup sucks. There's not really any way around that. Especially now we're putting the YouTube channel together. Now I have to have a spotless kitchen every single time I do anything, which is just about every day.
It's your showroom
So,
now.
well, yeah, and it takes me a good. I am a. You ever gone to a restaurant and seen how the chefs cook because they don't care at all because they got a cleaning crew coming in? I kind of do that anyway, even though I'm the cleaning crew, and then I got a horrible mess. So usually I just tell my wife, hey, that's hey, I made your dinner, so it's now's your turn. No, I don't do that.
Yeah, nobody's established the okay. I like cooking more versus I like cleaning less type of thing. So
The cleaning's kind of it could be fun,
yeah,
kind of.
Some people really do like it. The OCD kind of people
yeah, a
get
little
into cleaning.
therapy.
Yeah.
Hey, some barkeeper's friend, and with on your stainless pans, it does make you feel good whenever you hang it up, and it's
Yeah.
nice and shiny and clean.
So
Kind of
Joe,
does. I'm really stretching right there.
there you go. So Joe, when should people begin to tune into your YouTube channel?
Probably next week.
Next week,
I'm
okay.
working on the content right now. I've gone through a lot of information on it. It turns out that you're not really supposed to wait until all your videos are perfect. You got to get stuff up online. So I'll probably get this week. I'll probably have two or three up online, and then I'll probably try to post something. I'd say twice a week.
That's great.
But that includes all the video editing. It's kind of a learning curve because I kind of suck with Adobe Premiere. So I've got to learn Adobe Premiere. I got to learn After Effects. I mean, I got a computer background, so it's a little easier for me.
Yep.
But learning how to do all the special effects and all the editing and everything else, that's the part that takes a little more time than you would expect to put together a polished product. And creating like creating the graphics for the beginning of the videos and credits and everything else. I mean, that's the stuff that takes a while. Once that's created, then it doesn't take all that long to start cranking all that stuff out. But you kind of want to do it the right way.
Yep, absolutely.
Well, I will plug your website. It's joesphenomenal.com, right?
Yes.
Because I pulled that up and if we could even pull it up now, it's very pretty. I mean, it's very enticing and attractive and
Oh,
easy
thank you.
to not feel overwhelmed with. I mean, I was very impressed. It's great.
Yeah, that gets updated with recipes also. All the recipes that are on there
Mm-hmm.
are dependent on one or more of the salad dressings. So I got some pretty cool stuff. All the stuff that's there will end up on the YouTube channel also. And there's also a
Plug
link
that.
in
It
there
is
to
a
our,
great site. It's
there's
beautiful. When
also
I pulled it
our
up, I went,
Instagrams on
I
there
love
also.
this.
The Instagram page I have on there is my personal one though, so you'll see a lot of stuff that's on there in addition to food. But moving forward, all the food will end up on the Joe's Phenomenal Instagram,
Mm-hmm.
and then I'll probably remove the link for the personal one just to try to keep it a little bit more professional.
I get it.
But I don't know, I might leave it on there too because it is a lot more personal and it is kind of the vibe that I want to have there. So there's
I
like
will
some good.
tell you, Joe, that there was no intimidation factor when I looked at it. And I thought,
Oh,
it's
good.
still enticing. It still wants you to, it made me feel like I would want to make that. I would want to eat that. I would feel good about whatever's in there looks like it's got to be tasty. But it wasn't this so too much that you just go, yeah, that's great. I'll never make that. So
Oh, well,
it's
good.
very nice.
Yeah, because I'm not the greatest cook in the world or anything, so I had to kind of write those recipes out in a way that your average person will be able to follow. I mean, even some recipes are you look at them and you're like, ooh, that's an awful lot of steps. And then if you see like 30 steps to make something, you don't want to do it anymore because that's going to take you 3 hours to cook it. It's not going to be good.
So, Joe, well, first off, I mean, with what I've seen and what you've accomplished, you're in the short list for pretty good in the kitchen and ability to cook. So I'm looking forward to catching up with some recipes. I'm also looking forward to. I'm gonna get online and place an order with you because I want to try those out. Lately, I've been trying to change up my diet a little bit because, as you said, you can only exercise so much away. So part of it's what you're fueling yourself with. So I look forward to getting some of the dressings and trying a couple of dishes and see how they go. And so if you don't mind, maybe we'll have a future episode here, kind of like a check-in and saying, "Hey, I made this recipe, and here's the fun
Oh
part
yeah,
of it."
that'd be awesome. That would be totally awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just remember, man, weight loss is 95% kitchen. It's maybe 5% in the gym. And if you're doing cardio in there, don't believe the machine because that cardio, that calorie burn that they tell you on any one of those machines is so insanely off that I'd say it's maybe 20% of that.
Sure.
You're not going to get on Stairmaster for 45 minutes and burn 1,000 calories. It's not possible. It's good. That's like 200 maybe the most.
Right.
And that's a couple of tablespoons of ranch dressing right there.
Let alone the chicken wing that goes with it.
Yeah, it was at 150 calories for the chicken wing plus so you're talking like a chicken wing at Buffalo Wild Wings, just one. That's about 300 calories. It's a lot.
Yep. So
I used to love chicken wings. I really did.
I still have my heart kind of still bleeds for a chicken wing and some blue cheese or ranch now and again. But we got to substitute. We're gonna try some other food ideas in the meantime.
Okay. Okay.
Well,
I'll try. Maybe I'll be able to come up with a way to do a chicken wing that's not. Yeah, we have to maybe air fried or something like that. I had to kind of look into that a little bit.
or grilled. Maybe I wonder grilled with your one of the marinades.
Grilled would work,
Yeah.
but you got to figure that chicken wings are dark meat, so they're going to be higher in calorie also.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Joe, this has been a pleasure having you on. Colleen, anything else? Oop, Colleen, I think is muted yourself. And she's as you know, the good news is we go live. So even when we're live, we have our little faults and foibles.
Well, that's the fun part about being live, actually.
Exactly. So, okay, let's see. You muted the guest. The guest has muted themselves. Colleen could throw up some sign language. But Joe, it's been a pleasure. We appreciate having you on today. And again, if you get a chance, go to joesphenomenal.com and check out his website, because he's got some great recipes. Plus, you can order his dressings. Like I said, I'm going to get on there a little later today and place my order. I'm going to look forward to catching back up with Joe, and also be on the lookout for Joe's YouTube channel coming up here with videos starting next week. So on behalf of Colleen, my muted partner, who I love to talk to all the time, we will have her back on. And Joe, thank you for being on today's Coffee with Cramer and Colleen. We greatly appreciate it. And we thank everyone for tuning in. If you have any questions or comments too, do us a favor, hit the like button. Also put us in a reply if you're on the Facebook video. We will be uploading this here very shortly to YouTube. And if you have over there on YouTube for a question for Joe, reach out to us there. We'll get back to you. And also, if you like the videos on our YouTube channel, hit the subscribe button to be updated with updates of our latest postings of videos. And then also to be sure, again, just as a reminder, check out Joe's Phenomenal's YouTube page, Joe Lindner with Joe's Phenomenal. Thank you for being on today's show. We greatly appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Appreciate it.
Wishing everyone a great week. We'll see you on the next episode of Coffee with Cramer. Until next time, take care. Bye-bye.